What do you think about when you hear the word South Africa? Crime, racism, extremely curvy, big booty women? Sure, all those things exist, but they aren't what surprised me the most in the country. In this video, we will go over the top 5 culture shocks you will experience when you visit this legendary African country. Number 1. It's actually really nice.
We're with an armed intervention team in Johannesburg, and they've just heard a vehicle has been hijacked.
Let's be honest, South Africa has an awful image in the international media. When you do any research about the country, you will be flooded with narratives about power outages, otherworldly crime, and poverty. But when you actually visit South Africa, you will realize that all of this is wildly exaggerated. For 3 months, I was able to walk all over Gauteng with thousands of dollars in equipment, and nobody bothered me. Don't get it twisted, there were some tense situations, but nothing crazy. And while locals will strongly warn you about the danger, most of the people I spoke with told me that they never experience any crime firsthand and mainly hear about these things from the media and local Facebook groups. Furthermore, instead of declining after apartheid, the country's urban fabric has dramatically improved in meaningful ways. When you visit popular suburbs like Rosebank and Melrose Place, you will see people of all races dining and shopping together in relative harmony. And contrary to familiar narratives, black South Africans aren't all poor. The country has a monumentally large black middle class, and everywhere you go you will see them spending money on everything from designer clothes to cars, electronics, and especially food. Look at how many people are at this McDonald's on a Thursday afternoon. There is a reason why popular American brands have more locations in South Africa than in the rest of the continent combined. Even the notorious Johannesburg CBD stands head and shoulders above any other African city I've visited. At its best, it is cleaner than other much-hyped cities like Kigali, Rwanda, and unlike in different African countries, South African developers pay attention to the fine details of urban design, so the nice areas here are finished to a truly first-world standard. Number 2, it looks like America. Across the developed world, you will see certain urban design philosophies that greatly influence the vibe of a specific country. Japan has a certain look, so does Germany, so does France. South Africa stands out because of its downright shocking similarity with the United States. As soon as you drive into the Johannesburg CBD, you feel like you're approaching a major US city, and when you're on the ground, the feelings of deja vu can get quite intense. Ask yourself, is this South Africa or a hipster district in South Carolina? If not for the Gauteng license plates, it would be almost impossible to tell the difference. South Africa's American similarity isn't all good. Popular districts like Sandton are extremely car-dependent and unwalkable, which can make them feel soulless and dull. That said, nothing beats feeling at home when you're almost 8,000 miles away. Check out this hotel I stayed at. This room looks so much like an American hotel from the 70s. Everything from these popcorn walls to the wood veneer. Everything is so similar. It even smells like an American motel from the 70s. When it comes to customer service, South Africa will also feel very familiar to American tourists. At decent restaurants, you will usually be greeted at the door and taken to your seat without much delay. But this wasn't always the case. I've had many experiences where the service was so bad it actually blew my mind, only to see the same black staff act friendly and attentive with white customers. This is something you'll see all over Africa. You will also get hassled for tips at almost every single restaurant, which is one aspect of American culture I wish would stay in America. Number 3. Xenophobia?
I hate foreigners. I hate foreigners. How I wish they can just pick and go and leave our country.
South Africa's high levels of development have attracted people from all over the continent, and as a result, black South Africans are being forced to endure a level of insane competition for jobs in essential public services like healthcare and education. With that in mind, some level of backlash is totally understandable. But even on this topic, the negatives are wildly exaggerated. Throughout my trip, I met with many different ethnicities who have mostly positive things to say about how they were treated in the country.
I saw that it becomes easier when you know the language and stuff, because now people are like, oh, okay, she grew up here, and they become more friendly.
Okay.
If you're
Like they don't see you as like you view yourself as different.
Yeah.
Like you're one of us, so yeah.
And out of all the African countries I've visited, South Africa has actually been the most welcoming by a pretty massive margin. In most countries, I actually lie about my nationality because it seems like more of a liability than an asset. But in South Africa, this wasn't necessary or even possible because the people have a much higher level of knowledge and curiosity about the outside world. They can usually recognize different accents, and if I were to lie and say that I'm from Uganda or something, the conversation would quickly pivot to what job are you doing here, how do you afford this hotel, etc., which is, The biggest difference is actually in the women. Throughout my travels, I have found that many African women can be like narcissistic robots, pretty on the surface perhaps, but with absolutely disgraceful social skills and little empathy or consideration for others. In countries like Senegal, Cape Verde, and Rwanda, in social groups, it is common for people who know English to just start speaking in their native language and totally exclude you from the conversation, even though they always expect you to pay. Foreigners can feel more like walking ATMs than humans, and over time, this really starts to drag down your mental health. Even though I speak basic French, it wasn't very useful in a country like Senegal when your companions don't really even make any effort to include you. But South Africans are totally different. In general, they are very interested in how Americans perceive their country, and they love asking questions about your experiences, making it very easy to start conversations with them. South Africans are also very used to dealing with different ethnicities, and they know how to make outsiders feel included. The exception to this would probably be some people from KwaZulu-Natal who can get very angry if you don't speak to them in Zulu. But while this may look like nationalism on the surface, the reality is that these people are often embarrassed about not knowing English themselves, so they compensate by being aggressive. Local South Africans who don't speak Zulu can have the same experience. Okay, but I have to be honest and say that South Africa's treatment of foreigners isn't all positive. As a YouTuber, I have the unique opportunity to compare the way different cultures react to my content. While I have had overwhelmingly positive impressions of South Africans in real life, the country has by far the most toxic and demented online community I've ever seen. It's the only country where I've been physically threatened online for making YouTube videos. And the most bizarre part about this is that I got the most hate when I was glazing the wealthy areas like Sandton and Rosebank. But when I started covering slums and townships and inner city areas, the vibes of the comments totally switched. South Africans also don't seem to be able to take accountability for any bad thing in their country. If there is unemployment, they blame Mozambicans. If there is crime, they blame Nigerians. If there is gangsterism, they blame American music and television. Even when one of my fully South African guides made an incorrect statement, the comments started accusing him of being an undercover Zimbabwean. It's really bizarre. Number 4. The diversity. South Africa is known as the Rainbow Nation, and it's very easy to see why. In the United States, different races party on different sides of the city, but in South Africa, everyone parties on different sides of the same street. When you walk through some of the popular nightlife districts, you are hit with a level of diversity that you probably won't see anywhere else. That said, the divisions created by apartheid are still very visible, and the different ethnic groups still tend to live in segregated areas over 30 years after the system ended.
Those British guys and Dutch guys, when they separated people, since then the people have went to other places and it's still the same.
Indians live on one side, blacks live on the other, and even within the black townships, people will notify you when you're entering an area dominated by Zulus, who seem to intimidate the other ethnicities. Oh, you guys don't know the people here?
Yeah, no.
You don't?
No. Some may be criminals, so...
Well, it's not worth the risk in that case. And while most white South Africans seem very relaxed and comfortable in this unusually diverse environment, many have left the country entirely or retreated to exclusive Afrikaner settlements like Orania and Kleinfontein in order to preserve their language and culture.
And why? Because when the majority rules, minority rights get trampled upon.
But out of all South Africa's ethnicities, the colored people stand out. In the 17th century, the Dutch colonies that now make up South Africa imposed slavery on the indigenous Khoisan people. But because of stiff resistance, they were forced to import enslaved people from Madagascar and other parts of Africa, along with Malaysia, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, creating the most diverse enslaved population in the entire world. Over time, this group continued to intermix with both blacks and whites to create what are now known as the colored people. While the coloreds of the Western Cape tend to have more Asian ancestry, those in Gauteng tend to be more of a mix between black and white. And I had the pleasure of visiting one of their neighborhoods called Riker Park. Number 5. The colored culture. South African colored people face a negative stigma for being violent, and they actually represent around 20% of the country's prisoners, despite only being 9% of the population. But despite the harsh stats, face to face, I find they're actually the most friendly and welcoming people I met in the entire country. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yo, come over here, man.
Throughout my visit to Riker Park, we had so many laughs and jokes.
Beans also, and do you guys drink?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I'll go show you. Whatever, man.
What do you look like? Cardi B. Like all South Africans, the coloreds are highly influenced by Black American culture.
Freestyle, bro. Freestyle, bro. Freestyle, bro.
Okay, go something like this. Rapping, I'm rapping, and nigga be capping, and nigga be lacking, and bitch be chopping, and me and my nigga we pulling the triggers, and building a rap and making it.
But unlike other Creole groups, they absolutely refuse to be called black, even when visiting the US.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too. Shut up, man. I like when they talk from the back and say we can't. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's even better.
Next one, please.
That's even better.
This different philosophy has led to tension with Black Americans who usually follow the one-drop rule where everyone with African ancestry is considered black. Coloreds totally reject this, and I've even heard anecdotes of some of them crying when spoken to in traditional black languages.
So the dark-skinned people, they got a whole lot of they've got like animosity because why am I black? You know? Yeah, so.
Okay, so the dark-skinned colored people don't want to be considered black.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you do not talk to them when you meet them in a black language.
Okay. Like Zulu.
Like Zulu or Sutu, you know.
It offends them maybe. They get offended by that.
They feel offended, yes.
Okay.
Because you think I'm black.
Okay.
You know? That's how they are.
Okay. And all over South Africa, both black and coloreds remain massively offended by the way Tyler was treated in the United States, with many telling me that they believe black Americans hate them.
So I don't feel like she was wrong. She did come at you with ease. I just feel like she received a little bit too much of the heat. And I feel like that was a bit unnecessary. Some of what I've been seeing off TikTok makes me feel like, what kind of people are black Americans?
After the end of apartheid, colored people lost what little privileges they had over black South Africans, and many now see themselves as a marginalized, forgotten race under the new democratic government. For their part, many black South Africans acknowledge that this is true, but after over 300 years of being forced to the bottom of their own homeland, black South Africans think that it is time to put themselves first, and they no longer believe that they owe anyone else anything. Despite the somewhat strained politics, blacks and coloreds get along pretty well. Interracial relationships are common, and in recent times, more black South African men have begun gravitating towards colored women because of their unusual beauty and, perhaps more importantly, because they are much less money obsessed than their African counterparts. For their part, colored women like black men because they are more generous and less toxic, whatever that means. Relationships between colored men and black women are much less common. And so what's the difference between dating colored girls and black girls?
I think it's just more of a cultural difference, actually. It could be the same because, we all went to Model C schools where we speak English and we watch American television, so we adapt a lot of that. But I think culturally, if you date a colored woman, they are a bit less demanding, you could say. They're a bit more understanding, actually. It's actually a running joke currently that, colored women will never say A, B, and C in Dota must. And Dota must just means a man must, essentially. It's like a joke as well.
So maybe the African girls are more entitled, more money hungry.
Perhaps. I also wouldn't want to just paint them all with one picture to say they're money hungry, but I think that it's a very conscious decision that they do when choosing a partner, specifically because of the wealth disparity, specifically because of general daily living. Pretty much, yeah. It's almost like it's a quiet necessity in their mind that a man must take care of me because it's a lot to take care of myself, and this is what a man is good for, essentially. Yeah.
And you mentioned girlfriend allowance. How much would that typically be here?
Do you know? It ranges, bro. I'm sure it really ranges, but a really hot baddie that probably gets average 20,000 likes on Instagram, she knows her worth, that she's valuable or that she's wanted, perhaps, right? She could, if depends on the guy, like I'm sure starting basic salary or basic girlfriend salary, starting amount could be like 10,000, 8,000 to 10,000, sometimes 6,000 as well, depending on, rand. That equates to maybe $4,000.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, per month. But then sometimes it also goes up. Like sometimes there's add-ons type of thing. Like, okay, you must fetch me here, you must pay for my nails, and that's not included in the actual deposit allowance. Take me on dates still.
So you personally, do you spend money on women?
I don't spend money on women at all, unless it's like fake dollars, of course, monopoly money. Yeah.
Updated country rankings. South Africa beats out Cape Verde and Rwanda to be my top recommendation for American travelers who want to live in Africa long term. While the crime perception is high, I think it is exaggerated. The people are much more relatable and inclusive to foreigners, and the spectacular infrastructure and rock-bottom consumer prices will make things much easier on your wallet. South Africa is also the first developing country I visited where the food didn't give me digestive issues. If anything, it improved my digestion. I also have to demote Dakar, Senegal to third place because I massively overrated this country in my previous comparisons. While I was going through a conservative phase back then, South Africa made me realize how unpleasant many Senegalese people are in comparison, and I'm in no rush to go back there. Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.